Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Chris, and this is my channel, Chris P44S. And today I'm going to be playing a game called Spark in the Dark. As of right now, it's just a demo, and there's been a couple demos, I guess. This is the first time I've played it. I downloaded it a couple days ago, but I did watch a couple other videos just to kind of, get some insider. Actually, when I discovered the game, it was through watching YouTube videos, and then I downloaded it, and now I'm honestly super, super high on the game. Like, I'm really impressed at what's going on here. I love the mechanics. I love the ideas that are being brought to life here. The graphics and the audio and everything about this game is just super, super nice, and something I'm really looking forward to. I mean, this is probably going to be one of the top games I'm looking forward to playing in its final state, or even I don't know if they're going to do early access, but the game is a survival horror, a like fantasy dungeon crawler survival horror, which is like the perfect genre for me. Because those are all things that I really really like. So, without further ado, we're just going to jump into the game, and I'm going to be basically singing its praise for the entire time. I'm making this video for people who haven't seen the game really. Um, so there are a decent amount of videos out, probably similar to this, but hopefully this is probably one of the most recent ones when it comes out with the latest patch that was done in September. So there's a couple heroes to choose from: the blacksmith, the warrior, the hunter, and the thief. I think all the characters, the only one I'm really not super high on is the warrior, and that's because I actually think swords are just not as great as the other weapons, to be honest. They just don't stun enough when you're fighting, is what I've kind of found, and like they're kind of weak against stronger armors and stuff. So like, I guess there is, they're like swords, one-handed swords and stuff are always kind of like right in the middle. They're supposed to be really good, or I guess just really okay. You know, they just kind of do everything okay. But I think there's a lot of drawbacks to playing with a one-handed sword. I'm pretty high on the thief, and I think if you're starting a character, you should probably think about picking the thief too. Just because one of his strongest traits is perception, and perception actually helps you see in the dark. What I've noticed also, and I'm not sure if this is fact or just kind of a coincidence, but I feel like I find a lot more like potions and a lot more like weapons and stuff with attributes with the thief, and I don't know if there's like a higher percent of like rarity find with the thief, but I do think the thief is one of the best starting classes. With this game though too, it doesn't really matter what starting class you go for, because there is skill books in the game that you can read, that basically will grant you these abilities like this: crowbar usage, trap disarming, backstabbing, and so on and so forth. But like even with the blacksmith, like he has this equipment repair that he can start the game with, but you can find the book for equipment repair. Same thing with the warrior as weapon sharpening. Now, like I'm not sure if you can find a book for battle rage. I just haven't seen it, but I'm kind of assuming that it's in there. I would kind of like there to be, when you go into the menu. I'm gonna start the game with the thief right now. We're just gonna play in the Forgotten Dungeon. This is like the easiest version of the game, so that's just what I'm going to be playing in. I've done a couple other ones. As far as I can tell, the dungeon is always, at least like this level 1 dungeon, which is what we have in the demo, is always going to be the same map layout. But I basically think that monsters are harder. There's obviously more traps, and then, but the layout is the same. So I am also working on drawing a map for the game for level 1. So there's something to be said about that. If you're interested in another video about where I've actually created the map, I kind of just have a hand-drawn one right now, and I kind of want to like take it over and do something in another piece of software that's a little bit more high def. So if you're interested in a map, I mean, just comment below and let me know, and I will work on doing a video with maybe some links or something. So Yeah, we're gonna jump into the dungeon. The dungeon is the is where the game takes place. And honestly, too, this game is filled with lore, which I really, really like too. Each character kind of has a little backstory with why they've been sent to the dungeon. And the thief stole like some relic, from a noble or whatever. But this is the dungeon here. This is what the game looks like and what it sounds like. There is no map in the game, and I really, really like that aspect. There's a couple corpses from other people. I've also noticed too when you play with the thief, he's the only one that can find lockpicks. You can't find lockpicks in any other with any other character, which is kind of funny, um, but I also don't think that there's like a lock picking book. So you're gonna see like a lot of like notes and books in the game, and feel free to just read them because I think they're all really good. I'm not going to read them because obviously I'm making a video, so typically people don't want to watch videos of people reading, is in my opinion. We're gonna take this lamp here. The lamp is really gonna be one of the staple mechanics to the game because as the title suggests, it's a spark in the dark, and the game is going to be really dark. I'm really glad that they kind of like did the top down too to kind of limit vision. I think there's a lot of things that were done intentionally that kind of push it in the survival horror direction, which I think it doesn't really come off as first. There's also these banners, and this is all lore stuff. I believe there's like some achievements and stuff for finding all the pieces of lore and finding all the pages of a book or the different books of the series, kind of a thing. And you'll see what I'm talking about later. But yeah, so we're going to be playing with the rogue here. Or the thief, excuse me. But we're going to be definitely looking for daggers and light armor. If you hit tab, you can kind of go in here and into your like character like attributes and things like that, and you can see what things do. And I think that's a really really keen thing if you're starting the game, is to kind of like become aware with what things do what. Also note, if you're just tabbed in, the game does continue. If you hit I for inventory, the game does continue. So if the only way to pause it is to hit escape. But if you're like going through your inventory or going through your attributes and there's an enemy close by, they will continue attacking you. Um, but the one thing that I do like, kind of think would be nice to be tooltipped is these skills over here. Not the shields, obviously, or crowbar usage, but picking locks is a thing. But I guess crowbar usage too, because these are all levels. But like having more so like these abilities here, like the backstab being in Child of the Shadows. Like I don't really know what Child of Shadows does in its entirety, but um, maybe one day I will figure it out, and maybe there is an obvious answer to that. But I don't know. But more so, what I'm going to be doing too while I play is, just fighting and talking about the game. Like I said, just singing its praises, really. Another good thing to note too is you see these light sources here. These light sources will actually heal you if you take damage. There are some like potions that you can find that restore your life, but for the most part, the light sources like that. So it's really good to make a mental note, or like I said, or like I'm doing, is make a map, because as of right now, there isn't the map layout and design is set. So we're gonna come up and find some. I think there's some spiders in this room. There's also a light on, but yeah, here's a spider. There aren't a ton. There aren't a ton of different enemies, but what's kind of cool. I have to turn the audio down in my headphones because it's super loud. What's kind of cool is like it almost has that like that Diablo 1 take where like the more enemies you killed, like you can inspect the enemies every time, but it's like once you've killed like a certain number of a certain kind of spider, it'll actually tell you like what kind of abilities the spiders can do, what kind of I guess what kind of like passive skills they have, what kind of active skills they have. So it's always a good idea to make sure you're like inspecting enemies and inspecting things on the ground. And just take your time going through the game because I think it's um, really going to be really good and help you get your footing. And I think that's one of the things I like about the game too is it really doesn't there isn't really a lot of hand holding going on, which is something I really like. It just kind of like drops you into this dungeon and kind of like lets you figure it out. Some of the criticisms I have heard about the game is the what was that? I did turn the audio down like for the video to make it easier for people to hear me. Oh, so here's a zombie right here. I think the child of the night has a lot to do with like sneaking, and so the thief is really good at that. There's a spider that saw me, so I'm gonna try and bring him back here and fight him, just so that I don't aggro the zombie. Oh, it's not even let me inspect that. Yeah. Oh, so I've aggroed the zombie on my own. There is like a backstab thing that I kind of wanted to show off, but I think you can get it without even. I think you can get it without even like sneaking up on somebody. But there is like a special animation for the backstab, but it's not. It doesn't like lock you into the opponent or anything. As a thief, you can also disarm traps. You can't lay traps. The hunter can actually lay traps. You can also lure enemies into the traps. But the thief can't pick them up. But I'm kind of thinking there is a book to be able to pick up traps because the hunter can pick them up. And like I was saying before, oh, we've aggroed some more enemies. I'm not being a good child of the night right now. I think the daggers and the thief though are definitely like one of the best weapons and characters to choose. Because I found though like the daggers actually stagger a lot more enemies than like I said like just a one-handed sword does. Obviously, like a two-handed maul will stagger enemies. I also think it kind of depends on like what armor the enemies are wearing or what enemy type you're fighting. Because obviously, not all enemies wear armor, but I do think different enemies are affected differently by different weapons, which I really like, and that's kind of like oh, we found an amulet. An amulet too. Amulets are, I guess, are one of the newer items in the patch, and so the amulet we just found is one that I think is really good. The Talisman of Night Vision, so plus 35% to vision, which is really good because, like, if you go and play as the blacksmith, you'll see that your vision without a lamp is super low, and so it's very hard to play with like the blacksmith. So we just found a book of skill, the poisonous mechanism construct. This book contains drawing and information about the construction of poisonous traps. Nice. But we are going to have to run back to this light to try to get this blindness buff off of us. But as I was saying though, like yeah, I mean the warrior and the blacksmith just have like really low visibility. The hunter actually has the best, and I think the hunter is probably one of the most interesting characters to play as. Oh, we just hit another trap. Yeah, I actually kind of saw that one as I was stepping over it. But it is good. I mean, there's a trap right up here too, to the top of me. Um, that I'm gonna disarm because when you disarm things and like even when I pick the lock, it actually goes towards your level of like trap disarming and lock picking. And I think when you're using daggers and when you take hits with certain armors, that's gonna get your it's gonna get those skills up. Like it's kind of like the I think it was one of the Fallouts had like a similar design, and there's been I honestly want to say like Chrono Cross or Chrono Trigger I think had a similar design of like when you use weapons and spells, like you level them up in that way just by using them, and not by like going up levels. There are also hidden walls and hidden passages, And you can actually see this when it's actually kind of glowing like that. See how like the blocks are glowing? If I hit E on it, it'll actually separate and we'll find the secret passage. This is something I found a while ago. But it helps you get into a different part of the dungeon over here. There's a nice little... Man, I am not doing... I knew there was a guy up there and I was going to sneak up on him. But clearly I'm not doing a good job of sneaking right now. I was also going to say, too, I just feel like the... Ooh, this armor is pretty good, but it looks damaged. Yeah, so there's another... The darkness is consuming me. So the one nice thing, though, is if you get that darkness is consuming, you can turn your lamp on to negate that. But your lamp can't heal you. Oh, here comes a spider. Must have heard me open that door. Oh, and there's another guy back there, too. So, yeah, we've damaged one of our weapons there. If we find a grindstone, we can sharpen it. Oh, this guy has a shield on his back. That's funny. So you can see that, like, when I was going in for the backstabs around, he actually wasn't taking any damage. But you can see the daggers. The daggers are actually staggering him. Oh, his shield just went flying. Yeah, so we're definitely gonna take this dagger, because it also has Dark Strangler, critical health loss, which is just as fine as Deep Wound. I don't think taking away... There's a lamp somewhere around here that I can... Yeah. That you can... Oh, it broke. Nice. Yeah, I don't know if taking away enemies' constitution is that crazy. The other nice thing about the thief, like how I talked about the lockpicks earlier, is you can pick most of the doors. Like, this door requires a key, but you can pick it with a lockpick if you have enough lockpicks, or your lockpicking is a high enough level. So and even when it breaks, we gain experience. So, which I think is really, really nice. Oh, this guy had light armor. Oh, that was the one I looked at before. So down this hallway is actually going to be... I'm pretty sure something actually crawls out. Oh, but maybe not. This is going to be like one of the rest areas. There's a zombie sleeping in the bed. There's definitely something outside right now. I heard something crawling over there. I could have sworn I did. But you definitely want to close the doors when you're sleeping. I'm pretty sure you can sleep with the doors open, but I'm kind of assuming that you can get attacked. So we found another book of skill. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier again. I feel like the thief just finds a lot more books than the other characters is what I've noticed, and I'm not sure if it's just circumstance or not. One other thing about a lot of the lock picking is the other characters can use crowbars and just pry things open, so that you don't necessarily need, to play as the Okay, so we just found a key in there too. It also seems like some of the key, I think, and like the key items might be in similar spots. I haven't really proven that yet, but we did get the strange mechanical key, which seems to be in that box quite a bit. But we are going to take a rest right now. And so when you rest, you can actually do quite a bit of things. Your character actually like journals and does like diary entries. So like you can kind of and I believe that most of the characters will write different things. They will be talking about like similar instances that happened. But this is actually really really neat, and I think it just really, like I was saying, I think the lore, like see like Sparks in the Dark book. There's different books that you can find, that I guess they're kind of like in the same series or whatever, but it'll kind of give you a lot of backstory and lore as to like what's going on and like things that might even not affect the demo at all, but are going to be bigger later in the game, where you're going to be like, where it says like this is how the blessed she appeared, the first book of the divine or the first of the divine races, and so like the she might be a big thing later, you know. There's the ancient legends, and those were on those tapestries. Those are pretty easy to get. I just kind of ignored it coming through. You have the monsters. This is like your bestiary. But like I was saying, so we haven't slain any of them yet, but I have killed a lot of this creature in my other playthroughs. So you can see that we've like actually found some information about the different enemies. Like these were found after I killed like so many. And so now they just kind of like, it's kind of like a meta progression for the bestiary, but it's kind of cool to know, you know, that when you kill them, you can inspect them and learn more about the enemies, and it just adds so much. So the other thing too, I can sharpen my weapons here. Oh, and but I don't have a grindstone. So the grindstone can repair the weapons, but there's also like the sharpening skill that the warrior has, which will actually buff your weapons, or your bladed weapons, obviously, for X amount of attacks and stuff. And like when you get traps, if you have like the trap skill for the hunter, you can actually build traps at your camp, at your rest area. You can, well, I think you can. There's a book that lets you like apply poison to daggers and bolts and stuff, but you can do that at any point. Um, but we're gonna read the poisonous book. And so it says this book contains drawing information about construction of poison traps. You are studying the mechanism of pressure plate, poison valves, and other. Now you understand how these dangerous traps work, and you can disarm them. So I think there's other books, but maybe not for actually picking them up and laying them down, the traps. Quality weapon sharpening. So this has to do with the weaponing sharpening that I was just talking about. You study the feature of sharpening blades and axes, as well as properties of whetstones. Now you're able to better sharpen weapons to inflict maximum damage on your enemy. And I think like when you sharpen them, like I said, it gives you X amount of attacks that land, I think, that do like 15% more damage or whatever. You also can, when you rest, you can heal like bigger debuffs. Like I think there's like minor and major debuffs, and basically minor debuffs can be healed at the light, and major ones you need to rest. You need to rest for. So we'll continue on. We'll continue on because there's a part of the dungeon that I really haven't been to that much. And you can see here there's another, and I don't know, like maybe if you play as different characters, the secret walls, the secret passageway don't show up as much. There are a lot of secret passageways and things like that. I also you can roll. I'm not gonna roll in this little area, but yeah, we're gonna take the coin and the lockpick. So it says darkness is consuming me, so I'm just gonna run back to the light. But you can hit spacebar and roll around, but you can only roll forward and roll back right now. I kind of wish that there was like a side hop or a side evade, but as I said, right now there's only a forward roll and a roll and a jump back. It would be kind of nice to see like a roll back, maybe like you could learn it through a book, or maybe the thief will get it in later parts of the demo. I think that would be really nice. But yeah, I mean, I've just been really really impressed by this game so far. Oh, you know what's crazy too is so like I said, the dungeon is always laid out in the same way as far as the walls, corridors, and rooms go. But my last playthrough, when I came down here, there was actually like the timed spike traps. So there was like spikes here, here, and here, and they would shoot up through the ground in a timed progression, and you kind of had to like step over and walk over them, which is kind of neat. There are holes The darkness is coming again. Alright, let me wait this darkness off. And then I'm going to sneak through here, because I do know that there's another zombie or skeleton down here. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I can get him with a backstab or something. Yeah, so there's one just sitting on the ground right here. So this will be like the animation for the backstab with the two. But the guy obviously had a shield on, so not something that I actually really thought about. And this guy looks a little bit heavier armored, but he doesn't have a weapon either. One of the cool things is when you play with the two-handed hammers, you can actually knock weapons out of the enemy's hands, which I think is really, really neat. There's a lot of really, really good layers to this game. Oh, this armor is actually a little bit better. I'm probably gonna take it, even though it's kind of the same. It would be kind of nice, actually, if like if when you looked in here, if they kind of had a durability, because I think there is a durability. I think there is actually like durability in the game. I'm actually just drawing on my map down here, because I actually haven't came down this far. The sad thing is it actually goes off my paper. Yeah, so we're going to come down, then make a... I think I might have just confused myself. Yeah, because we're coming down here to take a right. Okay, so luckily there's just another room down here. I'm not really sure that I actually marked that correctly. Oh, so there is a grindstone and a crowbar. So we will take that stuff. Oh, there's 2 lamps. And there's another secret passage, of course. Alright, just bear with me for a moment, because I actually kind of want to get this right. Oh, that's the one guy I was kind of waiting for before, actually. These guys are actually really hard when you play with a character with light armor. I think I kind of want to bring him back to a bigger area. Because he's doing quite the, he's doing some work on me. He is almost dead. Got him. Yeah, the Nisses are pretty tough. Oh, here's a light. Yeah, that guy was supposed to come out, I think, when I went in the bedroom for the first time. Usually he comes like right behind. What I'm gonna do too is I'm gonna drink some of these potions, because we have to figure out what they actually do. I'm pretty sure this is just wine. This was the one thing that I noticed too, when you drink the potions, like when you come back in, sometimes it bugs your like you'll still be looking around to see how when I'm scrolling my guy's actually still turning and doing things. There's something about like when you drink the potions and then go back into your inventory. It's just kind of like a small bug. Oh, my armor is damaged as well. I think I'm going to come back. Now, I thought I dropped the other armor around here somewhere. That's okay. We can play with this other armor. So we go down. Make a right. Then we go down again and make a left. We go up into a room. Oops. And then there's... Yeah, I'm not going to take... I will take this rusty knife, because it seems quite a bit better. And now I'm actually back in the main corridor. Holy smokes. Oh, and then this brings you back to here. Wow, that's crazy. Right? Yes. Yeah, so that passageway just actually brought me back. To the room underneath the first secret passageway that I took. This one. The one up here. Sorry that I'm actually making a video and mapping at the same time. But this was the first passageway that I actually took. So kind of interesting, and like, you know what, it actually kind of like gives me the Dark Souls vibes a little bit with the just the way that the game is designed, and then like kind of with the combat rolls and real-time combat. I'm gonna see if I can pick this lock. Oh, I had the key. It must have been the... I think sometimes the keys and the doors that take the keys actually change too. So like I was saying before, that the game is, the corridors, rooms, and hallways are always the same, but like different spots come up. Not the secret passageways, but there's actually holes. There's actually different like holes that you can crawl into, and they take you to like secret like areas, and that's like really all they are. And then you can just kind of go back like the way that you came. Oh god. This is one of the toughest enemies in the game. I think I just lost him. No, I didn't. I was hoping I could come back and backstab him. But yeah, this is one of the biggest enemies in the game. So maybe if I can bring him back here, I can just fight him in this room. I did kind of go over it when I had it in my... when I was going through like the bestiary and stuff. I forget what it's actually called. But yeah, he's quite tough. And he actually does. He'll actually do a lot of damage. The one nice thing about it is that he's super slow. Oh, there's a spider there, so I'm gonna lure this spider out if I can. Kill the spider and then go back. The nice thing is when I go back, though, I might be able to sneak up on him, and you can actually kind of cheese. You can actually kind of cheese that enemy. Yeah, let me run back to the light too. And heal up, and then we'll go back and fight that boss. That mini boss. Yeah, I don't think there's anywhere to access the bestiary here. What I could do though is I could sleep real quick. And then cuz I need to sharpen my weapon too. And then I'll show you that you can like sharpen again. And then we'll fight the boss. It would be kind of nice if like the grindstone thing, that's one of the things I noticed, if it was a little bit faster. But I'm also kind of okay with it just being the way it is. Because I think this game is really supposed to be... See, so now it's 150, current damage 115. I think the game is meant to be played a little bit slower. And this is the dungeon that I'm actually in. I know I'm only like in a small portion of it. The dungeon that I'm in, this is the Leper Morak, which I kind of want to write here. On my map. The Leper Morak is one of the toughest enemies. I think the Nis is pretty hard too. But what I've noticed about the Nis is it's actually pretty weak to axes and stuff like that. And if you have heavy armor, the Nis doesn't do that much damage to you. Because I think the Nis has like sharp claws, but I think when you have heavy armor... Where's that big man? I think he might have walked back. Oh, there he is right there. I think if I walk... Yeah. I was going to say, I think if I walk next to him, he'll be able to see me. Yeah, we definitely want to be really careful fighting this guy. That's the kind of the other nice thing about the dagger too, is that it has like the lunge. But you have to be careful because he has that like backswing. But he is very, very strong, so I also like how he just walked through that. Kind of funny interaction right here. Yeah, that's what somebody was critiquing the combat quite a bit, but honestly, I think it's hard to like nail this kind of combat down with like the top down and stuff like that. But I think the combat and the just the way that it's kind of set up, like sometimes if you go too fast and you aggro too many monsters at once, they can really like mob you up and you know, stay on top of you. So we just killed the leper. It does drop a really powerful sword, but it's way too heavy for our character, so we're not going to be doing it. I'm also going to cut the video off here because there's a lot of dungeon that you haven't seen, and I think this is a game that a lot of people should give it a go. The game is free right now, and I think there's just a lot here. I think I've been playing for like 6 or 7 hours already, and this is definitely going to be one of my biggest games that I'm going to be waiting to play when it comes out, and even just more updates to the demo I'm going to be really anticipating. So I really encourage people to check this game out, leave them some, leave the developers some feedback, make a video about it, do whatever. Explore Spark in the Dark. I think it's going to be well worth your time. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think of the game down in the comment section below. And if anybody is looking for a map, there might be one out there already, but I am working on my own. I also think it's good practice that when you play the game, just to kind of draw a map for yourself. I think it's kind of cool that in that way to jump into the game, figure out the game for yourself, not watch a lot of videos about it. But yeah, this is going to be a great one. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right.